Ladies, let me talk to you for a second. You've been told a lot of things about men, some good, some bad, and a whole lot of confusion in between. But here's the truth. Making a man go crazy for you is not just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about what happens outside of it too. See, real intimacy starts way before the lights go out. A man's mind is where the fire gets lit. Talk to him like he matters. Respect him. Support him when nobody else does. When you believe in a man's dream, you become the woman he can't stop thinking about. When people talk about intimacy, they often jump straight to what happens when the lights are off. But the truth is, real love doesn't start there. It starts way before that. What you do in the everyday moments, the small conversations, and the way you make each other feel throughout the day is what sets the tone for everything else. Intimacy is not a switch you flip when it's convenient. It's something you build little by little with consistency, patience, and intention. For a man, connection begins in the mind. When he feels respected, heard, and valued, his heart opens, and that's when he becomes capable of deeper love. It's about how you talk to him, how you react to his struggles, and how you show up when life gets hard. Every smile you give, every encouraging word, every moment you choose to be kind instead of critical, that's foreplay. That's love happening in the background, preparing the ground for something real to grow. A lot of relationships suffer because couples think intimacy is just a physical act, a duty, or a performance. But when you slow down and nurture the emotional bond, you create an environment where physical closeness becomes natural, passionate, and fulfilling, not forced. Think about it. When two people laugh together, talk deeply, share their fears, and cheer for each other's dreams, they are already building intimacy. By the time they get behind closed doors, they aren't strangers trying to impress each other. They're partners who trust each other enough to be completely free. Love that starts outside the bedroom is built through presence. Put the phone down, look into his eyes, and listen to what he's really saying. When he comes home tired, give him a moment to breathe before unloading your frustrations on him. When he's proud of something, celebrate him like you mean it. That builds confidence. When he's struggling, remind him that his worth isn't tied to his bad day. These little moments tell him you are safe here. You are seen here. You matter here. And when a man feels safe, he opens up more than you can imagine. It's also about showing affection in ways that don't always lead to intimacy. A hug in the kitchen, a random text in the middle of the day telling him you appreciate him, holding his hand while watching a movie. These small gestures build anticipation, and they tell him that he is loved for who he is, not just for what he can give physically. The beauty of starting love outside the bedroom is that it deepens trust. Trust is what allows passion to be free of fear, shame, or hesitation. When trust is strong, intimacy stops being something you have to think about and becomes something that flows naturally. The connection grows stronger because it's rooted in friendship, respect, and admiration. Love that begins in the quiet moments of the day lasts longer and feels richer because it's not dependent on circumstances. You're choosing to love in every interaction, every conversation, every act of kindness. By the time intimacy happens, it's simply the celebration of what you've been building all along. And that's when love becomes more than an act. It becomes a way of living. Every man carries a dream inside him, a vision of who he wants to be, what he wants to achieve, and how he wants to provide and be remembered. Sometimes that dream is crystal clear, and sometimes it's just a quiet whisper he hasn't told anyone yet. But no matter how big or small it is, that dream is a core part of his identity. When you choose to believe in his dream, you're not just supporting an idea. You're supporting the man himself. You're telling him, I see what you see, and I believe you can get there. That kind of belief is powerful. The world is not always kind to a man's dream. He's going to face doubt, rejection, and failure along the way. People will tell him he's not good enough, not talented enough, or that his goal is unrealistic. Every time life knocks him down, it chips away at his confidence. But when he comes home to a woman who believes in him, that belief becomes his fuel. It reminds him why he started, why it matters, and why he has to keep pushing forward. Believing in his dream doesn't mean you have to solve all his problems or carry all the weight for him. It means you choose to encourage him instead of discouraging him. It means when he's working late on that business idea, you tell him you're proud of his dedication instead of complaining that he's distracted. It means when he fails, you don't throw his mistake in his face. You remind him that failure is just a lesson, not a life sentence. When you believe in his dream, you also help him stay accountable. Sometimes all it takes is one question: what's your next step? To get him thinking and moving again. You don't have to nag or push. Just show interest in what he's building. Listen when he talks about his goals. Ask him how you can support him. Celebrate the small wins along the way, because those small victories keep the fire burning when the big win hasn't come yet. Your belief can shape the way he sees himself. When you tell him you see greatness in him, it makes him want to rise to that level. It makes him want to work harder, be better, and become the man he's always imagined being, not just for himself, but for you too. Many men will tell you the moment they truly committed to their dream was the moment someone they love believed they could do it. And here's the secret: when you invest in his dream, you invest in your future together. A man who feels supported will work 10 times harder to build a life that includes you, honors you, and secures you. He will remember who stood by him when he had nothing but a vision. That memory will stay with him long after the dream becomes reality. Believing in his dream is more than just saying, I support you. It's choosing to trust him when the outcome isn't clear. It's choosing to encourage instead of criticize. It's choosing to see the man he is becoming, not just the man he is right now. When you do that, you don't just make him go after his dream. You become part of the reason he refuses to quit. Too many people think love is about impressing the other person, about putting on a show or doing everything perfectly. But the truth is, real love and intimacy are not about performance. They're about connection. If you spend all your time trying to act right, look right, or say the right thing, you miss the point. Connection isn't built on perfection. It's built on presence. Being there, being real, and letting the other person feel safe enough to do the same. Performance puts pressure on both people. When you feel like you have to live up to some standard or expectation every time you interact, it stops being enjoyable. You're no longer loving from the heart. You're auditioning for approval. And when a relationship feels like an audition, someone is eventually going to get tired. That's why connection is so important. When two people feel connected, there's room for mistakes, laughter, and vulnerability. There's room to just be human. Connection starts with emotional openness. You don't have to be a poet or spill your heart every hour of the day, but letting someone into your real thoughts and feelings is what builds closeness. If you're happy, share it. If you're stressed, say it. If you have a dream, talk about it. And when they open up, listen without judgment. The simple act of listening, truly listening, creates a bridge between two people that no performance could ever build. Physical intimacy also becomes richer when the focus is connection. When you're present and emotionally engaged, every touch feels more meaningful. Every moment feels more natural. You stop worrying about whether you're doing it right and start enjoying the experience together. The pressure to perform disappears because now it's not about impressing, it's about sharing. Humor is another key part of connection. When you can laugh together, even about the awkward or imperfect moments, it takes the tension out of the relationship. Laughter builds trust. It tells the other person, we can go through anything and still find joy. That kind of connection is powerful because it makes you feel like teammates, not actors in the show trying to get every line perfect. It's also important to slow down. A lot of people rush through relationships, rush through conversations, rush through intimacy, thinking faster is better. But connection is built in the quiet moments, the long talks at night, the lingering hugs, the shared meals without distractions. It's built when you put the phone down, make eye contact, and really take each other in. Those moments are where love grows. When you focus on connection, you take the pressure off yourself and your partner. You create space for honesty, playfulness, and intimacy to flourish naturally. You no longer need to pretend or perform. You get to just be, and that is where real closeness begins. Connection lasts because it doesn't rely on perfection. It relies on two people showing up for each other day after day with open hearts. And here's the beautiful part. When connection comes first, everything else falls into place. Love feels lighter, intimacy feels deeper, and the relationship feels like a safe place to land. You don't have to be flawless to be loved. You just have to be present. And when you're present, you turn love into something lasting. Every man walks out of his house and steps into a battlefield every day. He is fighting pressure at work, fighting to meet expectations, fighting to keep up with life's demands. The world often tells him he's not enough, not strong enough, not successful enough, not good enough. By the time he comes home, he's carrying the weight of every silent battle he fought that day. That's why safety matters. If he has to keep his armor on even at home, he will eventually break. But when he can walk through the door, exhale, and feel like he's finally free, that is when he will give you his heart completely. Making a man feel safe is not about hiding the truth or letting bad behavior slide. It's about being a place where he can be honest about who he is and what he's going through. When he knows he can share his fears without being judged or laughed at, it changes him. It gives him room to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is where intimacy begins. Most men are taught to be tough, to hide their emotions, to carry everything alone. So when he meets someone who allows him to put that burden down, it feels like relief. Emotional safety is built through trust. If he tells you something in confidence, guard it. Don't throw it back at him in an argument. Don't share it with friends or family. Trust is the foundation of feeling safe. And when trust is broken, it's hard for him to open up again. The more you protect what he gives you, the more he'll give. Safety also comes from consistency. Be someone he can count on, not just when things are good, but when life gets messy. If he knows you will still stand by him when he fails, he won't be afraid to take risks. When he has your steady support, he has the courage to chase bigger dreams and fight bigger battles. You become the calm in his storm. Peace is a big part of safety too. Every man needs somewhere to rest, not just physically, but mentally. A home full of constant criticism, yelling, or chaos is not a safe place. That doesn't mean you can't have disagreements, but how you handle them matters. Speak with respect. Even when you're frustrated, don't attack his character. Address the issue, not the man. When you choose peace over unnecessary drama, you give him something he can't find anywhere else. A place where he can recharge and gather his strength for the next day. Even small gestures can build safety. Ask him how his day was and really listen. Encourage him when he doubts himself. Remind him of his strengths when he feels weak. Give him space when he needs to think, and be close when he needs comfort. Safety is not about controlling him. It's about letting him be fully himself. Strong, flawed, hopeful, tired, and everything in between. When a man feels safe with you, he will share more of his world, his thoughts, and his dreams. He will want to protect that connection and do whatever it takes to keep it. Safety is what transforms love from a feeling into a partnership. Because when he knows he can be himself with you, he doesn't just love you, he trusts you with his soul. Every person gives and receives love in a unique way. And if you want to truly connect with a man, you have to learn how he feels loved. It's not enough to just love him the way you prefer to love. You have to love him in the way that reaches his heart. That's what learning his love language is all about. It's paying attention to what makes his eyes light up. What makes him smile without thinking? What makes him feel appreciated and seen? When you figure that out and act on it, you're no longer just loving him. You're loving him in a way he actually understands. Some men feel love through words of affirmation. They need to hear it. A simple "I'm proud of you" or "I believe in you" might be the fuel that carries him through a hard day. When you notice his effort and speak it out loud, you affirm his value. Don't wait until big milestones to say something kind. Appreciate him for the small things too. Tell him when he looks good. Thank him when he helps. Acknowledge when he's trying. These words build him up more than you know. Other men feel love through acts of service. For them, actions speak louder than words. When you do something thoughtful, cook his favorite meal, help him with a project, or take care of something on his to-do list, he feels cared for. Acts of service don't have to be grand gestures. Even small things can have a big impact when they come from a place of love. It tells him, I see your effort and I want to make life a little easier for you. Then there are men whose primary language is physical touch. This doesn't just mean intimacy. It's the small, consistent moments of touch throughout the day. A kiss on the forehead before he leaves, holding his hand in public, a hug when he walks in the door. These gestures reassure him and ground him. Physical affection builds connection and lowers stress. Sometimes a man doesn't need advice. He just needs to feel your presence, and a simple touch can do that better than words ever could. Quality time is another love language that speaks to many men. For them, nothing says I love you like undivided attention. When you set aside distractions, turn off the phone and just spend time together, talking, laughing, doing something you both enjoy, he feels important. Quality time doesn't always have to be fancy dates. It can be cooking dinner together, going for a walk, or sitting on the couch and really talking. What matters is that you're present, not just physically, but mentally. And then there are gifts. Not just material things, but thoughtful tokens of love. A man whose language is receiving gifts feels most loved when he sees that you paid attention to what he likes, what he needs, and what makes him happy. It doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's his favorite snack after a long day, a book by an author he loves, or a note in his bag that he finds later. The meaning behind the gift matters more than the price tag. When you learn his love language, you're telling him, I see you. I understand what makes you feel loved, and I'm willing to show up for you in that way. The beauty of this is that it creates a cycle. When a man feels loved deeply, he naturally wants to love you back in the ways you need. The relationship becomes richer, stronger, and more fulfilling because you're not just giving love, you're giving love in the way it actually counts. The world can be loud, heavy, and unkind. Every day a man is faced with challenges, pressure, and situations that try to chip away at his confidence. He's expected to be strong, to solve problems, to stay calm under pressure. By the time he's done fighting those battles, the last thing he wants is to come home to another fight. This is why being his peace is so powerful. It gives him something he can't get anywhere else. When you choose to be his peace, you become the place where his spirit can rest, recharge, and heal. Being his peace doesn't mean you're silent or that you never express your needs. It means you choose to bring calmness, not chaos. You choose to resolve things with understanding, not with constant shouting or criticism. When a man knows he can walk through the door and feel safe instead of tense, he will never take that for granted. He'll look forward to coming home because home becomes a refuge, not another battlefield. Peace shows up in your tone. The way you speak to him matters just as much as what you say. A soft answer diffuses tension, while constant nagging or sharp words build walls. That doesn't mean you have to hold back your feelings. It means you find a way to communicate with respect, even when you're upset. A man will open his heart faster to a woman who speaks with love than the one who tears him down. Peace also means giving him space when he needs it. Sometimes men process stress differently. They may need a little quiet time to think, to work through a problem in their head before they talk about it. Giving him that space is not pushing him away. It's letting him breathe. When he's ready, he will come to you. And when he does, listening without judgment will mean the world to him. Little gestures go a long way in creating peace. A warm hug when he walks in the door, a meal waiting after a long day, a simple I appreciate you at the right moment. These things tell him that he's valued. They may seem small, but they carry a lot of weight because they shift the energy from stress to comfort. Being his peace also means encouraging him instead of competing with him. If he had a bad day, remind him that one bad day doesn't define him. If he had a win, celebrate it with him. You don't have to fix every problem. Sometimes all he needs is to know that someone believes in him and sees the effort he's putting in. When you bring peace into a man's life, he will do everything he can to protect that peace. He will want to work harder, be better, and make sure you feel the same calmness he feels when he's with you. Peace makes him loyal because it's rare. Not everyone gives it. Most people add to the noise in a man's life, but the woman who brings stillness, joy, and reassurance becomes unforgettable. Being his peace is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about being there in a way that steadies him instead of shaking him. When you choose to be that person, love becomes lighter, trust becomes stronger, and the relationship becomes the place where both of you can truly exhale.